This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
This week had to have been this past week had to have had the greatest feeling as a Detroit sports fan that we've had in many years.
I don't disagree.
Probably the best possible draft situation come to fruition that we could have ever imagined. Coming into it with honestly moderately low expectations, I would say. You know, we kind of relegated to the possibility that, Benedict Mathurin or Keegan Murray are a Piston. Mm-hmm. That all we got for the Jeremy Grant trade was a first-round pick from Milwaukee 4 years from now or 3 years from now, whatever it was, 2025.
Yeah, because, I was convinced that if the Kings really do want to take Keegan Murray, they're not going to take him at 4. They're going to trade out of that spot with someone else, like Jaden Ivey at 4, and take Keegan Murray probably at 6.
Right. Obviously, this is what we're going to be talking about this week on the Fan Report. Mm-hmm. You guys know me. I'm Nick. With me is Andrew, obviously.
Hey, what's up, guys?
As per usual. That has not changed in God knows how many years.
Well, there was that one episode where I changed my name.
To what?
I'm kidding.
This is episode number 163.
Cue the Family Guy flashback.
You guys can always catch us on Twitter at Real Fan Report. We are brought to you by Detroit Sports Podcast at Detroit Podcast on Twitter. As always, a lot of exciting things. Like it like this honestly felt like not only I don't even want to say just a step forward in the right direction. It felt like several jumps forward. Like it felt like the beginning of the end of the rebuild to me. And that's what I said I wanted.
It feels like things are starting to come together. Like made me a lot less nervous about free agency.
You're starting to see a true pathway for this team.
Yeah.
Like we had kind of seen it with Cade. We had kind of seen it with Sadiq. And, we had a bit of an identity being built. I will say I do think they've kind of gone back from that on that original identity I thought they were building of that rough, tough, rugged attitude style team. I think we've kind of shied away from that a little bit, but that's okay. Yes, I do like teams like that. The city endears themselves to those teams, but it's okay to have a little bit more flash and style to it. Cade's brought that style. I fully believe Jaden Ivey's going to bring that style. There's a lot of that with these guys that are going to be effectively the leaders of the team for the future. But we have we have an identity. Yeah. Or we're building one. And that's something that this team has lacked for a long, long time.
And the other cool thing is, this is the second year in a row where our top 5 draft pick is a guy who seemingly actually really wants to be here, which I think is a huge bonus.
I didn't even know about the family history of Jaden Ivey in Detroit.
Oh, really?
I didn't know his grandfather played for the Lions. No, I did not. I studied his draft profile.
I knew about his mom playing for the Shock, and I knew about his dad playing for the Lions. I did not know. His grandfather playing for the Lions. I did not know about his dad playing for Country Day.
I somehow managed to miss that because I studied the draft profile of him. I watched some film. I learned about him. I did not hear that he had family history in the city of Detroit with his mom playing for the Shock, his dad at Country Day, and his grandfather with the Lions. There is a long family history of Ivies playing in Detroit, of the Ivey family, I should say, playing in Detroit. A long family history. He's now the 3rd generation to play here. So to see him be brought to tears with emotion and happiness that he gets to come and play for the city, and then he seemingly tried to just jump right into things and endear himself to the fan base and the citizens of this town. It's you genuinely do believe he wants to be here. Cade, I see it more so now than I saw it day one. I felt like day one it was an act.
The Buff song wasn't enough for you?
No, I felt like that was an act. From the beginning, I felt like it was an act. Because he's got no ties here. He has no connection here. He wants to be here in a sense of this team drafted me number 1 overall. That's awesome. I want to play for this. It wasn't, I want to be in Detroit. Jaden Ivey, I genuinely believe he wanted to be in Detroit.
Yeah.
And here we are. The Kings went full Kings and took the guy that... can we say that they went full Kings if they didn't take Jaden Ivey? Because they actually did do a lot of homework on Keegan Murray. That was the guy that the brass of the organization wanted. We could say they went full Kings in taking the wrong guy, at least who we think is the wrong guy.
They went full Kings in taking Keegan Murray at 4. That's where they went full Kings.
Fair.
Intel... I didn't believe this intel at first until James Edwards corroborated it, that if Jaden Ivey had gone at 4, whether it be to the Kings or someone else, that there was a very good chance that Jalen Duren would have been the pick at 5. I did not buy it one bit until James Edwards corroborated it.
I'll be straight with you. If Jalen Duren was the pick at 5, I'd have been massively disappointed.
I'd agree. I would have wanted Ben Math if
you're talking about, well, not even just that. Like, you're talking about a guy who is 18 years old, who is one of the second youngest player in the draft, I believe. 18 years old, and is very raw and likely a couple of years away from actually being a big part of a team. Like, there's going to be some development with 100% Jalen Duren. Like, for the people that say that, and we'll really get into Jalen Duren in a bit, but for the people that think he's going to slot in and start at the center from day one, oh hell no. I'd be extremely shocked if that were the case. Like, this kid is too young, too raw, like doesn't have enough basketball experience. He's got a lot of growth to do. Yeah. And he's young enough to where he can literally still grow.
Dude, that dude does not look 18, by the way. I'm just saying.
No, but neither did Leonard Fournette when he got drafted. And he was, 20? He looked like he was 42 and had 4 kids.
There's only one part about Jalen Duren that bums me out.
Remember Ashawn Robinson? When he got drafted, he literally looked 40 with 6 kids.
Yeah, there's only one part of Jalen Duren that bums me out. Did he have to pick number 0 for his jersey number?
I love it.
It's like he's trying to force me to remember Andre Drummond.
No, what he's doing is trying to make us forget. He's trying to.
That's what I'm hoping happens. I'm hoping he's so good in that jersey.
Guy that wore number 0.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's so good in that jersey that I forget that Andre Drummond never wore it. That's the Pistons don't retire it first.
God, they probably will, along with the popcorn guy in section 125. Knowing this organization, but like. I don't hate it at all because I don't think Pistons fans should care that much about Andre Drummond. He's a has-been. He's the ex-girlfriend that when you look back, really didn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
He did you no good. He made himself look pretty, but he constantly puts you down, constantly puts you in bad situations, and constantly upsets you.
Yeah.
Never did anything good for you, but looked pretty doing things for himself. That's what Andre Drummond did with his time here in Detroit.
Yeah, to the point where you didn't bother upgrading. You're just like, I just want out.
Yeah. And you know what?
Backup plan? Don't need one. I just want out.
Frankly, we should feel entirely indifferent about him as a result. So when somebody else comes in and takes the number 0, all right. I don't care. Doesn't bother me one bit. I like it. But obviously, the Pistons went into the draft with the number 5 overall pick, with hopes and dreams sitting behind the Sacramento Kings, knowing full well that the big names in this draft were in the top 3 with Banchero, Smith, and Holmgren. Were you at all surprised with the order of those 3, by the way? If
it had happened on like Tuesday instead of Thursday, I would have been. But it was looking more.
For Banchero like shot up.
Exactly.
That week.
If I wasn't following the betting odds, I would have been pretty surprised. But with the betting odds, I started expecting that was going to happen.
I wasn't really surprised that Holmgren.
Do I think they made the right decision?
In love with Holmgren, but
yeah, I fully expected the Thunder to go Holmgren at 2, but do I think that the Magic made the right decision? Questionable.
I mean, that's up for debate. That's entirely.
But
up for debate.
We won't know. We won't know until a few years out.
I would say 10 years from now. We won't know for sure, but.
I mean, Anthony Bennett, you knew pretty quickly that was the wrong decision.
Same with Darko. There are your exceptions there. I would very likely say that these guys have a much better chance to succeed than either Anthony Bennett or Darko. But
I just felt that the Magic could really use the defense that Jabari Smith would bring them. But
that's fair.
Oh well.
Beyond that, though, the Sacramento Kings taking Keegan Murray at number 4 overall. You and I were sitting in a bar watching the draft, and the whole place erupted when the kids took Keegan Murray. Like it got loud.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took Jaden Ivey, and there were people high-fiving up and down the aisle. I mean, it was nothing but pure excitement when the Pistons made that pick. And
I mean, you guys can't see this, but we've been manifesting this Jaden Ivey thing on this podcast. I've had Kate Cunningham and Jaden Ivey as my Zoom background for the last month now. So
that's not a lie.
We've been manifesting this.
It was a lot of excitement, and to see him kind of burst into tears and be as excited as he was to be a Piston and see his family right there with him and their excitement, and it was good feelings. And it gave me a lot of excitement for what the future can be. Now, I got a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Troy Weaver said that he thinks that he sees Jaden Ivey as the next Russell Westbrook.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Those weren't his exact words.
No, I'm paraphrasing. But he says he's got the exact same tools as Russell Westbrook.
He has the same athletic tools as Russell Westbrook, which is true. He does have the same athletic tools as Russell Westbrook. What you hope that he could be, though, is a smarter player than Russell
and a better
Westbrook
shooter. Now, there
was.
are other aspects to Jaden Ivey's game that lend itself a little bit to Russell Westbrook, i.e., the shooting inconsistency. The same question marks that Russ has and had are very similar question marks that Jaden Ivey has. You hope that Jaden Ivey can be a smarter player, though.
Yeah.
And I think playing alongside the likes of Cade Cunningham will bring out some of that intelligence and basketball.
He's not going to be thrown into a ball-dominant role. He's going to have to pick his spots.
Don't get me wrong. Russell Westbrook got to play with James Harden, got to play with Kevin Durant, but I don't really see those guys as being guys that bring out the best basketball IQ in their teammates.
Yeah.
Cade, I see bringing out basketball IQ.
But when has Russell Westbrook ever played the off guard?
Well, James Harden had to play the sixth man role because of Russell Westbrook, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. I actually like, and this is why I've been advocating for
Jaden Ivey also really has not played a ton of off-ball either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I do think that, one, I feel like Jaden Ivey is more of a two-guard anyways. But two, I believe that
most scouts and experts project him as a point guard in this league.
But and two, I feel like playing off ball, he's going to be forced to pick his spots, and it's going to help with his development. He's not going to be as you would hope that he won't be as reckless, as ball dominant, as ball reliant as he would have been if he were bringing the ball up the court every time.
I don't disagree at all. Like I definitely can see the tools and the IQ to have this guy be a top tier off the ball type player, not necessarily needing the ball in his hands to be as successful or control the pace of the game to be as successful. I can see him being equally successful with somebody else dishing him the rock.
Yeah.
This honestly could go the opposite way, though, and he could turn into Colin Sexton 2.0. Like, it's very possible.
There's no such thing as a guarantee with a draft pick, so...
No, there's not. I have a lot of faith.
I'm swinging for ceiling.
I have a lot of faith in Jaden Ivey, and I have even more faith in Cade Cunningham to bring out the best in Jaden Ivey and be the best player that he can be. And that's where I'd say that the Russell Westbrook comparisons kind of stop, because I don't really think that Russell Westbrook had a teammate. It's tough to say that, but like had a teammate that cares about his teammates as much as Cade does. I'm trying to be careful with my words there, because to say he didn't have a teammate like Cade, like that's just blasphemous. He had KD and Harden, but
yeah, neither of them were like
that
Cade.
Cared about their teammates' growth as much as his own, like Cade does. And that's where I say that Jaden Ivey has the leg up.
Yeah, definitely can't say that about Harden or West or
exactly.
Durant.
They didn't have the same care about the growth of Russell Westbrook as Cade
They're
does
both very much me guys.
Yes.
But no, and the other thing that I just liked about this draft overall is there's a couple things this team was sorely lacking in, but one of them was athleticism. And that was part of the reason I didn't want Keegan Murray is we were a very unathletic team last season, and adding another unathletic high draft pick to the roster, it was just like a nightmare to me.
We'd be turning the clock back to the 1989, back to the 1980s.
You drafted two of the best athletes in this draft, and not even fronting, like legitimately two of the best athletes in this draft, in Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren.
Jaden Ivey's up there. I wouldn't put him in. I would say he's probably top 10 athlete. I don't know if he's quite top 5 athlete in this draft, but he's up there. He's up there. And
I think overnight, you up the athleticism on this roster. Now, you still need shooting. 3-point shooting to be specific.
Yes.
You did grab a guy from overseas and Gabriel Procida. Probably going to stash him for a year.
He most likely will not see the light of day on this roster, barring extreme injury or does something that nobody ever expected.
Well, I mean, he fits a need.
Sure.
Like that's already motivation enough to bring him over. I'm not saying he's ever going to become anything, but I think there is like if we still need shooting by next offseason, I think it's motivation enough to.
There are proven guys in the
roster.
NBA that are free agents that'll cost you damn near nothing that fit that exact need. Also, like it. But I don't have. I don't like to put a lot of stock in second round picks.
Oh,
they are entirely. I don't even like talking about them that much. I know we have to, but
all I'll say is his highlight film was fun to watch. It's just fun.
You know what? If your highlight film isn't fun to watch, you shouldn't have made it. They're all fun to watch. All of them.
Yeah,
I
but
can watch a middle schooler's highlight film, and it should be fun to watch.
His is like really fun to watch.
They all are. They're all really fun because all you're doing is taking the best, most ridiculous highlights and editing them together. If you don't have enough to make a film, then you shouldn't make one at all. They're all really fun. I don't buy into highlight films whatsoever.
Speaking of 3-point shooting, though, did you see one of our undrafted free agents that we signed to our summer league squad? It's Kyle Foster out of Howard.
I did.
Highest 3-point shooting percentage in college basketball, 46% at Howard. At Howard.
So take that with a grain of salt. Never saw an elite defense in his lifetime.
Yeah.
But he could shoot wide open.
He did play Nova.
Once.
Didn't they play Nova?
How'd he shoot?
I can find out.
Do that for me. I like bringing in shooting. And shooting is something that you can argue translates no matter what. I disagree with that a little bit because putting an NBA defense on somebody who is untested is a whole different animal. So that's where I'd say like pump the brakes a little bit. I think he's another situation where, where he's probably going to be stashed in the G League for a couple of years. And if he doesn't ever really become anything, you just let him go.
He shot 5 for 9 against Nova.
Oh, that's not bad.
7 for 12 against Georgetown.
That's pretty good. I mean, Georgetown ain't the Georgetown the Hoyas from
not.
back in the day, but
yeah. But those are probably the two best teams they've played. Oh, they played Notre Dame, I guess. They're not as known for college basketball as they are for college football.
No, they're not. But, I mean, it's a guy to take a shot at that'll be cheap for a few years to see if he's got something and can contribute. I got no issues with that, especially as an undrafted free agent. You spent nothing on him.
Yeah.
You spent nothing on him.
And that's a sticking point. If he can prove that shooting stroke is legit and he can still shoot 40%
against an NBA defense, sweet.
Yeah. Then
absolutely. Right. Can he play a lick of defense?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know that much about Kyle Foster. The fact
I don't watch Howard basketball.
Yeah.
So, and I apologize to the fans out there that do watch Howard basketball. There's probably at least a dozen of you.
Yeah, we have a big market in Howard, just so you know. Yeah. But yeah, back to the Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren.
Well, time went by in that first round. And, we got to picks 7, 8, 9, and we started to think, okay, where are the spots where the Pistons could potentially trade? Because once that Blazers pick was gone, that was one spot, but we didn't really think we had the assets anymore to go get it. 8, 9, 10 came around.
We had those rumors that had come out.
The Knicks wanted Jaden Ivey desperately. They tried so hard to go get him involving Cam.
They were reportedly offered multiple first-round picks for him.
Yes.
The ones they got from the Thunder specifically.
Thank God Troy Weaver was smart and said no.
How scared were you when we pulled off the trade at 13 and you saw that the Knicks were sending us Kemba Walker?
Terrified. Terrified.
I would have been done. I would have been
like Kemba Walker hasn't had enough knees to play a 40-game basketball season competently since like 6 years ago. He has no knees. But obviously,
yeah. So we'd seen the rumors that Charlotte was looking to offload Gordon Hayward's contract for either 13th or 15th pick in this draft.
I would have taken Hayward and the 13th or 15th pick and just said we'll take the contract.
Troy Weaver somehow got 13th pick without taking on Gordon Hayward.
He took on Kemba, though. He did take on a bad contract.
Significantly cheaper.
And for less time because they bought him out, I believe.
Gordon Hayward was due, what, 30-plus mil?
So
over
is
the next
Kemba.
2 years?
So is Kemba.
Kemba's $9 million.
Kemba's 34.38.
$9 million.
I'm looking at his contract right now.
Those have been the reports everywhere. Have been $9 million.
That was his total for his contract. Yep, $9 million. You're right.
Significantly cheaper.
Yes, significantly. Although Hayward, you can project as being a contributing player on a good team if he stays healthy. And if you don't put him in a super prominent role, there is a chance he does stay healthy. Because Hayward, I believe, can still be a good basketball player. At the very least, you have a corner three shooting threat. At the very least. And frankly, you put him on this team in a reserve role or a guy who plays 20, 25 minutes, he can contribute. Even 30 minutes, he can contribute.
But
a lot.
Troy Weaver somehow went from 2025 Milwaukee pick for Jeremy Grant
to the 13th pick.
Plus moving up 10 spots in the second round to the 13th pick. Wizardry is the only way I can explain it, to be honest with you.
I can't really explain it either because how do you
thank God the Knicks are dumb, I guess. I don't know.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me because, like, we wanted Jeremy Grant for first round pick this year, yes?
Yep.
How does he not get that, but then uses that exact same asset that he got for it to get a pick in the top 15 this year's draft? Like, it doesn't make sense. And that's one thing that I've had to keep like trying to replay in my head. Like, how did this end up happening? Because obviously the Knicks probably didn't want Jeremy Grant. That's probably number one. The Hornets I can see possibly wanting Jeremy Grant though. Like, that would make some sense. Maybe not though, because their goal is to probably re-sign Miles Bridges. So they probably didn't want to take
both the Hornets and the Knicks. Like, what surprised me the most is both the Hornets and the Knicks supposedly like Duren, which is why I was so weirded out that you took them off their hands so easily.
But neither one wanted to take. Both of them wanted to get rid of contracts.
Yeah, but Hornets make sense because they had 13 and 15 also, and they knew Mark Williams to be there because the Cavs were not threatening to take a big man at 14.
Right.
So like the Hornets kind of make sense. The Knicks, I can't speak for the Knicks.
It doesn't make sense that the asset we traded Jeremy Grant for turns into something way higher. Like
it's the Knicks being that desperate to get Jalen Brunson.
Well, it wasn't the Knicks pick here.
Yeah, the Knicks acquired it. It was a three-way trade. The Knicks acquired it from the Hornets, who then the Knicks then gave it to us.
Yes. This trade's complicated as hell. To actually give you the full rundown of the pick, it's Charlotte receives a 2023 first-round pick from Denver via Oklahoma City and the New York Knicks.
Yep. That
2023 second-round pick via New York, 2023 second-round pick via Utah, 2023 second-round pick most favorable, so a pick swap of Dallas and Miami, 2024 second-round pick via New York. Pistons received 2022 draft rights to Jalen Duren, the 13th pick, and Kemba Walker. And the Knicks just get rid of Kemba Walker. Did it really take that much to get rid of Kemba Walker? That's a $9 million contract. It's not that big.
It's the Knicks being a dog shit organization. That's what it is.
It's $9 million. It's not hard to get rid of that.
It's the Knicks being a dog shit organization. I'm sorry. Like, you got to tell it like it is at this point.
They gave up so much draft stock.
Did you see Stephen A's reaction during the draft? Like,
they gave up so much.
I've never seen Stephen A speechless before. He was speechless. He was so excited they got Duren, and then he was so down that they got nothing.
I'm speechless. Like, they gave up so much to get rid of $9 million. Like, if you would have told me that the Hornets gave up all of this to get rid of Gordon Hayward, that I believe.
Yeah, that's
absolutely, I believe that. But this is Kemba Walker on a $9 million expiring deal.
Yep.
That blows me away. They gave up 2 first-round picks, basically. Well, so it's kind of weird because it doesn't actually say the first-round pick went to New York ever. It was directly from Charlotte. But New York had to give up their first-round pick to do it. Like, this
the routine trade.
Yeah. I don't understand how this just managed to happen this way. So now Charlotte continues with first-round picks next year, 2 of them, to go along with the one they had this year. And they've got like 17 second-round picks. So next year will be the Charlotte Hornets on the clock for every pick.
I was so wired from draft night that I legit couldn't sleep till like 1 a.m. I was just so hyped.
So,
but
let's get into Jalen Duren here. Unless you had something you wanted to say.
I was going to use Jalen Duren to segue into the next topic, but if he has
let's get into Jalen Duren here because he is somebody that I know a lot of people have a lot of expectations for, and there's a lot of upside there. Let's get into who the player is and what he can project to be for the Pistons and when we think it can happen. Because again, we are talking about an 18-year-old here, and an 18-year-old who is very raw at the game of basketball.
Yeah. What I see in Jalen Duren, I mean, you got 6'11" big man, super athletic. He's a leaper. He's built. I mean, he is
one of the best lob men in this draft.
Yeah, he immediate translation is as a lob threat and rebounder down low. But what we're hoping to develop,
Andre Drummond.
Yeah. So this is where what I think about Jalen Duren. I think his floor is Andre Drummond.
I can see that.
If he doesn't develop any more skills,
they are very similar in like their draft profiles. A little bit
if he doesn't develop any more skills, he already has the Andre Drummond skill set. Rumor is that he has a mid-range game. They didn't really get the opportunity to show off in Memphis.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah,
I will not.
I'm just
hoping
for it. But this is in terms of what you hope he can develop.
I will say though, if Brook Lopez can develop an outside shot, this kid can develop a mid-range game.
Yeah, you hope that mid-range game can come along, and you hope that he's able to step out and step out to the perimeter and play some perimeter defense at an NBA level. You saw glimpses of it, but not a ton of it at Memphis. He has shown to be pretty proficient down low defensively. So there's that.
Something the Pistons were severely lacking.
Yeah. So what you get immediately is you get the length you didn't have at center. You get the athleticism you didn't have at center. I was talking specifically to Isaiah Stewart. The length, the athleticism you didn't have at center, and the defense.
Stewart has motor. He doesn't have the athleticism.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, those are all great. And that's definitely something that the Pistons desperately needed. They needed that athleticism down low. They needed a guy. Another thing about Jalen Duren that is a big plus is he's probably one of the best pick and roll guys in this at his position in this draft. Like he's a fantastic pick and roll guy that can go and get a lob from pretty much anywhere. You throw the ball in his direction, he's going to catch it and probably dunk it. Like that's Jalen Duren's game, is that lob game. Again, though, we have to understand that this, even what we're getting right away, you're probably not going to be seeing for a while. This isn't a guy that slots into the starting lineup day one.
No, absolutely not.
This isn't a guy that slots into a primary reserve role day one. This is a guy that is much more of a development project. He is going to take some time. He may even see some time in the G League, in all honesty. And there are a lot of fans that think he's going to be a starter day one. And I pump the brakes, people.
He's gonna start off at maybe 10 minutes a night, maybe up to 15 by like mid-season.
I'll be honest with you. If he makes the team out of training camp, I will probably be a little bit surprised. I can 100% see this guy going to the G League. He's 18.
No, I wouldn't be shocked if they put him in the G League. But
depending on what the Pistons like, if the Pistons still go and sign a DeAndre Ayton, this kid's going to the G League.
So that's what I wanted to segue into was the rumors coming out of this after this draft was that because of the Durham pick, the Pistons are no longer in the Ayton sweepstakes. I don't know if that came from Pistons. I don't know if that came from the Pistons camp or if that came from just people speculating.
That came from pure speculation. I don't buy that at all.
I don't see why you wouldn't be.
Neither do I, because you're talking about a guy who's probably not going to be NBA ready for 2-3 years. Okay, you signed Ayton to a 4-year deal. 5-year deal maybe. That's still in your window. Yeah. Like he comes in and contributes right then and there. Sweet. Like I don't see why they would ever even consider saying, "Oh, we have Jalen Duren in 2 years, so we shouldn't sign a guy." No, sign a guy.
Yeah.
Because one, you don't know if he's going to actually produce or grow. Two, it's a really good problem to have in the future.
Yep.
And three, DeAndre Ayton's 23 years old.
Exactly.
Like still developing also.
If you decide, let's say 3 years from now, let's say you sign DeAndre to a 4-year deal. The first 2 years have passed.
What's a max deal for Ayton? Is it 4 or 5 years? Is the 5 years the super max, or is that the?
I think 5 years is super max.
I think so too.
But I'm not 100% on that.
I think it's a 4-year.
But let's say you still have 2 years left in Ayton's deal, and Duren's ready to play big minutes now. If for some reason you decided, okay, let's move DeAndre Ayton, you're still talking about a 25, 26-year-old center who, theoretically is still producing. I'm just saying, it's not like it's going to be a hard guy to move. That's all I'm saying.
Who says you need to move him at that point? Why can't there be a situation where both Jalen Duren and DeAndre Ayton coexist?
Because neither of them can step outside.
Okay. We've also talked about how DeAndre Ayton is a guy who late in ball games in the playoffs gets played off the floor. Jalen Duren, probably not that same situation. But DeAndre Ayton does things that Jalen Duren doesn't do. Like, there's no reason why both can't be on this team, play effective minutes and a lot of minutes. So Jalen Duren comes off the bench. Plays 30 minutes a game at that point. DeAndre Ayton still plays 30 minutes a game. Like, there's zero reason we can't have a Twin Tower situation. Jalen Duren's got the athleticism to move out a little bit. Sure, we won't have a ton of shooting. Ayton won't be able to. Ayton can step out. He can't step out necessarily to the 3-point line, but I've watched this guy step out.
He's got a mid-range game.
The 3-point line. He's got not even a mid-range game. He's got like a long mid-range game. Like, he can step out about 22 feet and hit a J.
Greg Monroe mid-range game?
Yes, he can step out 22 feet and hit a J any day of the week. So he takes 2 more feet.
Would you believe me if I told you that DeAndre Ayton shot 37% from 3 last season?
Absolutely, I would.
Because he did.
On how many attempts?
0.3 attempts per game.
Exactly. To say this guy in Ayton can't develop a long-range game, I think is just a bold-faced lie. Like, you have no idea. He's already proven he can shoot the basketball. Why can't he develop an outside game?
I didn't say he can't. I'm just taking at face value of what they are right now.
How can you say you're taking something at face value that's 2 years from now?
Like,
we don't know.
Yeah. I'm on the side of I
understand. I'm just saying, like, there is. Why can't there be a situation where you have both and it works? Because in all honesty, like, we don't know if Isaiah Stewart's going to work. There's question marks there, and there's a lot of them. We saw a lot of question marks pop up last year. We started to see some development to those question marks to maybe answer some of those, but he's still got a long ways to go. So why can't we have Jalen Duren and DeAndre Ayton? Why can't we have Isaiah Stewart in that mix? Why can't we insert Marvin Bagley into that?
I did just do some digging on where those reports came from. James Edwards.
He's a beat writer. He's writing about what people are talking about.
No,
that's what beat writers do.
He has team sources.
Okay, wonderful. You know how many times James Edwards has gotten it wrong? Many. And the Pistons could honestly be telling him.
No one is 100%.
Exactly. The Pistons could be sitting there saying, hey, James Edwards, go put this story out. Get people off the Ayton train.
No, only reason I said that was because I said I don't know if that came from someone with the team or if that came from just a completely outside source. Like that came from like some guy at CBS saying, oh, it doesn't look like they're going to go to Ayton now.
Beat writers are there to drum up conversation amongst the fan base. That's what he did. We're sitting here talking about it, are we not?
I mean, yeah.
If I were to sit here and tell you that the Pistons are not going after DeAndre Ayton, and I know that definitively, then Troy Weaver should probably not have a job. Because they should absolutely still be going after him because he's a 23-year-old, probably top 10, close to top 7 or 8 center in the league, and he's 23.
He does say here things can change.
He fits the window.
He doesn't use any definitive language. He says unlikely and then says things can change.
And they will. Like, I have zero, like, if anybody thinks Jalen Duren is the reason that the Pistons shouldn't go after DeAndre Ayton, they need to take a long, hard look at who Jalen Duren is right here, right now. Because
100%. Now,
he's 18 freaking years old.
If you were to tell me that they don't want to go after DeAndre Ayton because they would rather sign a couple veterans, some team-friendly deals, and then maybe move around some deals to make a play in 2023 where there's expected to be a much better free agency pool, then I could see that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't love that idea either. Because there's a lot of teams that have cap space next year. Just based off the way trades are going, I don't see the Pistons being able to make the big splash next year. I see this year as their year. They're one of the few teams that have oodles of cap space. And are willing to use it.
Almost a scary amount.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, even though next year's free agent class is better, I think this is the year they got to strike, because next year it's going to be tough. There's projected to be a lot more competition next year in the free agent market.
Yeah. I'll be like, if we're going to make a big splash, Aiden's the guy I say go for. I know there's also contingent business fans that want Miles Bridges. I'm just not entirely sold on Miles Bridges as a max player because that's what he's asking for.
I'd prefer Ayton to. I'd prefer Ayton to Bridges. The one thing about Bridges that worries me is the shooting actually real? Like, can this dude actually consistently shoot from outside? And we know Ayton can't consistently shoot from outside. Not right now, not yet. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I would lean Ayton. I think he's more of a sure thing, and you know what you're getting out of Ayton.
Yeah,
Miles Bridges. I think there's still a wild card there. Have you seen what Steve Clifford, Charlotte's coach said about Bridges in his rap career?
That wasn't real.
It wasn't?
No.
I thought it was.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't real.
Where'd you see that at? That it wasn't real?
Because Rico reported on 9712, and then he had to come back out like an hour later and say that it was actually fake, and then Vladdy got all pissed about it.
Huh. Oh, all right, whatever. I stay corrected then. All right. Either way, the Charlotte Hornets are not a smart organization. Mm-hmm. Miles
Just
Bridges
like when Rico
had.
almost went on there and almost read the fake tweet about Jane Ivey saying that he doesn't want to play for the Kings because they're a poverty franchise. But,
all right, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And I'll spin it into this. Say we're out on DeAndre Ayton. We can't get him. The Suns are matching any deal that comes his way. Who's your next pick? Who's your next guy?
I'm assuming Zach LaVine stays in Chicago. There's that. I think I'm out on Brunson. Plus, I'm assuming he's probably going to go to New York. So if you want to make a big splash...
The Knicks are going to be in an interesting predicament because there's a chance that they go after Kyrie, too. You can't go after both Kyrie and...
I heard the only team that has shown any interest is the Lakers. But then Kyrie opted in. So
but he can still be traded. I've heard there's a lot of possibilities the Knicks are going to be going after Kyrie Irving.
Well, they go after everybody, so
and get nobody.
Get nobody
except Carmelo Anthony and Stephon Marbury way back.
So really the only big splash left after that is Miles Bridges. So then it becomes: would you rather make a play of Miles Bridges, or would you rather sign like multiple?
Go after Malik Monk.
Multiple veterans, or would you rather take on some salary for some draft capital in what's probably going to be a loaded 2023 class? I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. I would probably lean one of the latter two over throwing big Miles Bridges, but that's just because I just personally don't believe in that Miles Bridges is going to be worth the contract. I haven't seen enough from him to make me think that. But
knowing that, like, the amount of competition they're probably going to have in next year's free agency class, though, I don't want to be hemmed into a situation where, sure, we make some team-friendly deals this year so that we still have cap space next year to go after a big splash, and then we have to make more team-friendly deals next year because we didn't get anybody. That's a worst-case scenario.
I would rather do the take on a large contract for a couple of years and get really like legit draft capital for it, but that also depends on what draft. It would actually be contingent on us getting draft capital in 2023 that's projected to be a lottery pick that,
I don't think you're getting that. Not for an expiring deal. Not for a deal that takes a couple of years to expire. Like I don't think you're getting a lottery pick for that. Not a high lottery pick. Frankly, if I'm Troy Weaver,
where did Charlotte finish?
I can't remember.
Did they finish 13 or 15? Which one was it? Were they just outside lottery or just inside?
I think they were just outside. Because didn't they make the playoffs? The play-in game?
That's what I'm trying to remember.
I thought they did. Either way, if I'm Troy Weaver, I'm signing Miles Bridges at that point. I'm ready to win. I've got my draft picks that I like.
They were in the lottery.
They were? Okay.
Yep.
5 of them, to be exact. 6 of them, if you want to include Killian. Over the last 2 years. I've built through the draft for a couple of years and done it quite well, might I add. Now it's time to add some big pieces to that. and I can do that this offseason, and there's no guarantee that I can do it next offseason. So I'm going after it. I'd rather take the guy that I know I can get right now in Miles Bridges, and if I don't get him because the Hornets match the offer sheet, fine. Mm-hmm. I still have next offseason. And if I do get him, sweet, my team is set. My team's ready to go. I got Bridges. I got Cade. I got Ivy, Duran, Stewart, Bagley, Diallo. You probably bring in a couple other guys there to, supplement that, but that's a winning basketball team.
Yeah. And I understand the logic of taking the swing. I'm just curious your opinion. Like, if you're a betting man, do you think he lives up to a max contract or no?
Frankly, if you want me to be honest, I don't think any of these guys do.
I agree.
I think there's maybe 5 to 10 players that live up to a max contract in the NBA. But, I mean, sure, he can. He's a good player.
That's why you take the swing. It's like,
yeah,
you have to believe it's like you don't have to necessarily believe that he's going to be a max player.
Let's be real.
But you have to believe that he has that. You have to believe that he has that potential to do it.
Looking at the Pistons roster, they have a huge need at the wing. He fills it. And frankly, the one thing that's kind of nice about Miles Bridges is he doesn't have to be the number 1 or number 2 guy on this roster. He's not. You don't have to rely on him to be that. It allows Saddiq Bey to move into a smarter role for him. It allows Bridges to be comfortable and not have all the pressure on him. It allows Cade to have endless amounts of weapons to pass the ball to, and also not have everybody focused on him, so he's not getting double teamed every single possession. It allows Jaden Ivey to ease into the system and get comfortable. I don't see a downside there.
Yeah.
And the same could be true with DeAndre Ayton, obviously. There's a little more pressure on the backcourt if you grab Ayton, but I think those guys can handle that pressure. There's just less pressure on Jalen Duran at that point.
Now, I do want to have some fun with some of the alternate options, though.
And
unless you have something else to add.
I will say one thing about the option you chose with the getting the draft capital. I've long said I'm done building through the drafts with this team.
Oh, yeah,
this was it.
I did preface that by saying it would have to be for 2023. I'm not interested in 2024, 2025. I'm not interested.
This draft
I'm specifically.
was it for me.
It's just because of the strength of that class. That's what
I understand, but in my mind, this draft was it for me because, frankly, where the Pistons are going to be picking better not be high enough to be in the high lottery.
Oh yeah, that's why I said I would be interested in other teams.
I'd be shocked if you were able to get high lottery picks.
I would be too, to be honest with you. I don't. Well, other than New York, I don't think GMs are stupid. I think they all have their eyes
Sacramento
on 2023. Well, that's true.
They're out there.
do they have a contract they can dump off to?
I don't think they do. I don't even know who's on their books, but De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Yeah.
I'm going to try to dump him. They just give up Halliburton for him.
This year was the end of building to the draft in my mind. It's time to bring in a big name for
you brought in
supplemental pieces, and you're done.
And theoretically, with what my expectation is for what you just drafted this last week, you brought in the piece to the draft for you should be done.
Yeah,
going through the draft.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't need any more.
Nope.
But
this should be it. This should be your core, your young core, with the 6 freaking guys you have over the last 2 years, and you add in one big name and supplemental pieces around it. There's your team, and that should be the team you should be able to win with.
So I want to give you 5 non-max players from free agency, and I want you to pick 2.
2?
Mm-hmm. This is assuming
give me a dollar amount that I can get them at.
We'd have to speculate.
Okay, that's fair.
This is assuming, obviously, that we don't land a max player.
Charlotte and Phoenix decided to pay up. Got it.
Bryn Forbes, Otto Porter. Do you want me to go all 5 at once, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Bryn Forbes, Otto Porter Jr., Gary Harris, T.J. Warren, Taurean Prince. Those are the 5 I'll give you.
I am out on Gary Harris. The guy hasn't played a full basketball season since Nam.
You're not interested in the 38% from 3 on 5 attempts per game last year? How many games did you play last year, Orlando?
12. I have no idea. I'm just trying to see what I could get some of these guys at.
He played 61 games. That's actually
That
the
is
most.
not that many.
That's the most he's played since like 5 years.
Point exactly. I am out on him. So Gary Harris, I think, is going to be way too expensive. Also, like you're talking about a guy who cost $20.5 million last year. So that mixed
But do you
with
think he commands that same contract?
I think
again?
he still commands around. I mean, 38% from three. Yes, I think he still commands, and he's only 28. So I think he still commands something in the realm of 18 to 22. Yes, I do. So I'm probably out on Gary Harris because of the injuries and what he's going to cost. Malik Monk was a fat less than $2 million to finish out his rookie deal. Did you mention Malik Monk?
I don't think I did, but I might have.
Well, he's one of the names that I've heard connected. That's why I mentioned him.
The reason I mean, like he was on my list until that I was doing until I heard, I think it was yesterday, that he's willing to take a discount to stay in LA, and I'm like, oh well, he might actually just stay then. That's why I didn't include. Oh,
Why the hell
I may have
would he
accidentally
do that?
still let him off. But
Why the hell would he do that? He thought that dude gets disrespected in LA. Like he's like the baby brother that nobody likes, but is actually really good.
Yeah.
Well, decent. Bryn Forbes was 4.5 last year. He turns 29 this year. Turned 29 this year. Otto Porter was 2.4. Torian Prince was 13 mil for Torian frickin' Prince. I'm out on that.
I doubt he commands that much.
There's no way.
Yeah.
TJ Warren was a little under 13. So I'll be honest with you. So who your five were Bryn Forbes, Otto Porter, Torian Prince, TJ Warren, Gary Harris, and then I threw in a six of Malik Monk, yes?
Yep.
If we're going to take Malik Monk out of it, fine. I would like Malik Monk would be the one shooter I go for.
So I was going to go for Bryn Forbes in terms of 3-point shooting. That would have been that's the top name on my non-max list.
What did Forbes shoot last year?
I believe he's over 40% for his career. I'm trying to see what he shot last year.
I'm going to compare it to Malik. The thing about Malik Monk is
he shot
was able
41% last year.
Over some games last year. Malik Monk was a 39% three-point shooter from last year and 40% the year before. So as soon as his volume went up, he started hitting everything.
Yeah. Yeah, Bryn was 41%.
On lower volume than Malik Monk.
He took about 4 threes a game. How many did Malik Monk take?
5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like significantly more. A whole 25% more, 20% more, whatever it was. Almost 6, actually. He took 5.8.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Malik Monk would be my guy.
I think we're both the same mindset in terms of we're signing him not max guy, better be a 3-point shooter. Kind of thing.
Yes, it has to be a shooter. You still need shooting on this team. So I would go Malik Monk or Bryn Forbes at like 8 mil a year, maybe 10 mil if you have to. I don't think Bryn Forbes would cost you that much. I think Bryn Forbes probably be a little bit cheaper than Malik Monk, honestly. You might be able to get Forbes for like 7 or 8 mil. I think Monk probably commands 10 to 12 maybe, or 8 to 12, somewhere in that range. Monk is significantly younger. He might want a longer contract. Beyond that, you also, in my mind, need a wing. So you're looking at Otto Porter, Torian Prince, and TJ Warren. So it's one of these three. So Gary Harris is out, and I'll take either one of Malik Monk or Bryn Forbes. So for your list, I'll take Bryn Forbes and.
See, like my favorite player of those three wings is TJ Warren, but he's played 4 games in the last 2 years.
And he's also expensive.
I doubt he's gonna, because he's coming off of a 2-year-long injury, basically.
He might still get like 7 mil though, 7 or 8.
I can see like a 1-year prove-it deal being a thing for
maybe,
TJ Warren.
maybe. Which that'd be sweet. What was the injury he had?
Something with his foot.
Oh, I don't like foot injuries. Those are bad.
I can, do the Google machine here.
That's what I'm pulling up right now. But head injury and was taken to a local hospital.
I did not remember a head injury.
Oh, no, it was his foot. He had a navicular fracture. So
What is that? Where's Alex when you need him?
Seriously, I have no idea what the hell. Multiple left foot injuries is the reason he missed last year.
Jeez.
So I'm going to say
It's a fracture in the middle of the foot.
Yes. If this is a team that I'm starting to want to compete with, I'm probably going to be out on TJ Warren just because of that. You know what, though? If he's going to be that cheap, I may do it and sign a third guy here. Because I got the money. You know, I may still go after Otto Porter or Taurean Prince along with TJ Warren to have insurance. That's a lot of depth there. Because I don't think Otto Porter's going to cost you that much. Bryn Forbes probably costs you 8 to 12 mil, or somewhere in that $8 million range. Otto Porter was only 2.5 last year. You could probably get him for pretty cheap. Taurean Prince probably doesn't command the 13 he had, but he still probably commands somewhere around 10. So he's fairly expensive. But if TJ Warren's that cheap, maybe you go Prince and Warren as your wing, rotational wings. I'm not going to complain about that.
No. I personally like Porter over Prince, but I think Porter might be a little bit more expensive. So I might.
Then why was
Prince.
Porter so cheap last year?
He was on a vet min last year, but I
know
the way he played with the Warriors.
It's probably true. He probably grabs a pretty sizable deal of like 14, somewhere around there. You think it'll be that high? Maybe 12? I would probably, somewhere around there. But I do like Porter a little bit better. But honestly, if you're able to get him on a shorter term deal, it's not a bad idea to grab Otto Porter and Bryn Forbes there. Like if you can get him, because you've got the cap space, and Bryn Forbes probably signed him for what, 2 years maybe?
I like that idea.
You sign Otto Porter for 2 years, 13, 12 mil. You got your shooting, you got your wing. Sweet.
And supposedly we're unlikely to retain Frank Jackson, so there's one shooter out there.
Well, they're not tendering him an offer, a qualifying offer is the report.
Yeah, exactly. But we are looking to keep Hamidou. We're going to pick up the team.
They are going to be picking up his option, and they are...
I wonder if that's because Hamidou can technically play like small ball 3, but Frank can't, and our guard rotations looking like it's to get a little bit crowded.
I also think the fact that Frank was injury prone last year was a big issue, and he also had a big regression last year too with his shooting.
True, he did.
So I think without him continuing success from the year prior, they said he's expendable at that point. So, because I mean, you can find a guy like Frank Jackson in a lot of ways. So I think they were okay letting him go. Marvin Bagley is a guy that they're going to want to re-sign. He's a guy you're going to probably have to throw some bucks at, but there's some decent options to go middle of the road with. I personally, I want the Pistons to go for a splash. If it's not Ayton, get Bridges and figure out the rest of the team at that point, because you're close to being done with the building of this roster, and that can finalize it. One of those two guys in my mind. So that's what
I still think you need a bunch of complementary pieces, but that could finalize your core.
You'd have to with both of them.
Yeah. Now, I do want to close it off with another look at alternative options. Okay. If we didn't get a max player, was we talked about trading and using the cap space to actually acquire assets via trade. James Edwards actually proposed 3
getting
trades.
The Knicks pick from the Hornets for Gordon Hayward.
James Edwards actually proposed 3 trades.
Okay.
In an article on The Athletic. Do you want me to just give you all 3 and then you tell me your favorite, or should we go one by one?
Let's go one by one.
All right. First trade is to Charlotte. We give them Kelly Olynyk and Saban Lee. In return, we take on Gordon Hayward's contract, but they also send us PJ Washington.
Yeah. Olynyk, and I have to give up Olynyk, and who was the other guy?
Saban Lee?
Yeah, go take him. There you go. I like PJ Washington a lot.
I know. I love the idea of PJ Washington on this
Hell
team.
yeah. If I were the Hornets and I traded PJ, like, if I were a Hornets fan and they traded PJ Washington, I'd be pissed. That dude's a good ball player.
You got rid of PJ just to get rid of Gordon Hayward? No, but here's the thing is, I think PJ is on the last year of his deal this year, so you would be looking at extending him sooner rather than later.
Fair, and he's probably going to be expensive. That's a good ball player right there. I'd still do it though. Like I love PJ Washington. I think he's a great player.
So it might turn into you getting
he's got an RFA. He's got a qualifying offer. He's an RFA after this season. Is
RFA
what it is.
This season. Okay.
He is rookie extension eligible as of now for a very large amount. But I don't think he's going to quite get that. But he will be an RFA. Well, no, because I'm confused now. Okay, yes, it is an RFA situation. I'd do it. Olynyk and Saban Lee are moot on this roster and moving forward. Saban Lee is kind of replaced by
Well, I can see still Olynyk having a really good bench role
for this year
Yeah,
until, or maybe next year until Jalen Duren's ready to go. But like with the presence of Marvin Bagley, that also kind of diminishes his role too. So I can honestly say I'm good on Olynyk. Like he's expendable, and Saban Lee is definitely expendable at this point. So yeah, to bring in PJ Washington, yeah.
Yeah, my only worry about this is like you might be in a position where you might have to get desperate next season, like next offseason, to move the last year of Gordon Hayward's deal in order to have enough room to sign PJ Washington and still have enough room to retain the rest of your guys.
Which is fair, but a $33 million expiring deal is a lot easier to move than because Hayward's got 2 left on his.
Yeah, he's got 2 years left as of this offseason.
And it's 33, right, cap it?
Yeah, it's something like that. Somewhere in the 30s.
It's 31 and a half next year. So it's 30 this upcoming season, 31 and a half the following. So a 31 and a half expiring deal, you can potentially move that maybe to the right team.
Well, don't accept the trade just yet until you hit the other 2.
I'm happy with that one though. If you got to beat PJ Washington, that's gonna be tough.
The next trade is with the Miami Heat. We trade Corey Joseph and Saban Lee to the Miami Heat. Take on Duncan Robinson's contract, which is I think $17 million over the next 3 years.
Oof, that's a rough one. That dude cannot play defense.
And a 2023 first round pick.
All right, I'll do it. I mean,
at the very least, he should give you shooting if he doesn't fall off the face of the earth like he did this past season.
Right. Well, he was a good shooter until the playoffs. Then you couldn't play him because he can't play defense to save his life.
Yeah, and
during the season, the guy could shoot really well. Like he was a good shooter last year during the regular season, but playoff time he barely even got to play.
Yeah,
because you couldn't play him. Last year he shot 37.2% from 3 on 8 threes a game, taking 8 a game. Like that's pretty damn good. I'll take that all day. And to give up Kojo and Saban Lee, sweet, I'm good. Take it. Yeah. That is a really expensive contract for Duncan Robinson.
The first round pick might not be worth all that much. It's probably going to be in the 20s.
Right.
I think that the main attraction is actually the shooting. I think that you're going to get.
The problem with his contract, too, is it's backloaded. So whereas his contract this upcoming season's for $16.9 million, it shoots up to 18.1 the following, then 19.4 the year after, and then he's got a player option, I believe, or is it a team option? An early termination. So it's probably a team option at 19.8 the year after. Like it's an expensive deal at the end of it. There's 4 years remaining on it.
Does he have an early termination option?
After 3 years.
Fourth year?
The fourth year is early termination option, yes. So but 9.8 of that deal is still guaranteed on the 4th year, so you're still paying $10 million.
So James Edwards says something interesting in his write-up of this trade proposal. So yeah, he is due what we said, but he says Detroit would only have to eat about $10 million in cap space, albeit for multiple years. I don't know how that would work.
Maybe Miami is willing to retain some of it, is what he's saying.
He's putting. You think he's putting it as a contingency on the
deal? He might be saying that they're willing to retain some of it, which is fine. The 10 mil that the 10 mil is that the cap hit would be is that guaranteed 10 mil from the final year, the early termination option. So
final trade is with the New York Knickerbockers.
The whole
Pistons, team. The Pistons trade Corey Joseph, and that's it for.
Nothing? Sweet. Done.
For Evan Fournier. I think he's got 18 mil, 3 years left. A 2023 first round pick from the Knicks. And you get your second round pick for that year back.
I don't care. They can keep that. Oh, man. It had to be Evan Fournier, didn't it? Like, that's the one guy I just do not like. But that pick...
He does get you some shooting.
How protected are we saying with that pick?
He does not specify any protections here.
Okay, Evan Fournier's shooting is like one night a month. He goes off for like 8 threes, and then he hits one the next 3 weeks. That's Evan Fournier's shooting. He did shoot 39% from 3 last year, actually, shooting 7.7 a game. Like, that's a lot. But
damn,
I can guarantee you
it's like 7.7 threes a game.
Yeah, I can guarantee you a lot of that is really streaky shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, he averaged 14 points a game. He just doesn't play a lick of defense. He also played 80 games, which is the most he's ever played in his career. Previous 3 seasons, though, 16 games, 26 games, and 42 games.
Well, no, those are all the same season.
Oh, you're right. It is the same season. Just kidding. So 42 games, 66 games. All right. Oh, no, he had 1 season of 81. All right, so he's played a decent amount of games. But how protected are we taking that next pick?
No protections, according to James.
They traded their 2023 pick.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did in the Charlotte deal.
No. What wasn't their pick?
Oh, it was from Denver. That's what it was. Okay. Man, I don't know. Like, I hate.
That's the best pick you're getting in any of these.
Yeah, it is the best pick, but like, it's also the worst player.
That's probably the best pick you're likely going to get at all.
I 100% think that. Now, in that next year, though, you got to remember the Knicks were a playoff team last year. They they collapsed this year.
Yeah,
but they still got some.
Put them back in the playoffs.
Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Cam Reddish, like there's
Julius Randle. If last year's any indication,
yeah, but there's legitimate chance for that team to still be pretty decent. So the pick may not be actually that good.
Yeah, you're not acquiring any pick for a team that's like for sure tanking or gonna for sure be bad this year.
No,
like you have to gamble on teams that like could go either way. But so of those 3, it sounded like Charlotte's your favorite.
PJ Washington's my favorite player of the bunch.
Yeah,
but the fact that I have to re-sign him makes it very difficult, and I don't get any draft capital out of it. So like I could get nothing out of the deal. Granted, I got rid of Olynyk and Saban Lee, who I don't think are very productive for this team anymore. But
yeah, you're not going to have anything significant,
right?
But can the Pistons theoretically retain PJ, Sadiq, Jaden, Cade?
No, absolutely not. Because you're going to have to max out Cade. You're going to have to max out Jaden Ivey. You're going to have to give Sadiq Bey probably $20 million. Like, there's no way you can keep PJ, because PJ Washington's probably going to want $20 million. There's no way you can keep all that, especially if you sign Miles Bridges or DeAndre Ayton.
You got too many young players.
Yeah, you do. That's the problem with taking 6 draft picks in 2 years. 6 first-round draft picks in 2 years, mind you. Or is it 5? It's 5, isn't it? I've been saying 6, but I think it's 5.
No, it's 6. 6 in the last 3.
Last 3, yeah, last 3.
Because you had 3 in 2020. You had just Cade in 2021, then 2 this year.
Yep, you're right. I am missing a year. But I don't think it's possible to retain all that. I'd probably, but then again, you look at it, I don't think it's possible to retain all that if you take on Duncan Robinson's contract. This is a conundrum.
This is a conundrum.
I'll take the PJ.
It sounds like you're not liking the idea of trading
for
using your cap space as trade bait.
No, because I want to have room to be able to re-sign the guys that I like, and frankly, doing so to take on a contract that lasts 3-4 plus years, like 3+ years, makes it so I can't do that.
Yeah, that's why the Evan Fournier and Duncan Robinson ones are going to be tough.
Yes, so I'd say for that reason, I'll take
2 years. Gordon Hayward. That could work.
Yes, that one.
But then you're going to have PJ Washington in your post because there's no point doing this trade if you're not going to re-sign PJ Washington.
Right.
So.
I'll probably take the PJ Washington trade just because there is a chance that I can maybe retain him along with at least a couple of the other guys and make it work. I know the Pistons are going to have bird rights on Cade. They'll probably have it on Jaden Ivey also. Like, there's a chance that if Tom Gores is willing to pay some money and go into the luxury tax year, we can make this happen. Yeah. But
I think everybody know your answer here, but would you rather Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington, or would you rather Gordon Hayward and a 2023 first from Charlotte?
PJ Washington.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured the answer was.
PJ Washington's just a damn good basketball player. Like, and where that Hornets pick would be if he turned into PJ Washington, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's the reason for that is just monetary purposes. That was the reason I proposed that.
That's true.
You're kicking the
re-sign
can down the road another 4 years.
You do bring up a good point. Screw it, give me the pick. I'll take the monetary aspects to it into consideration so that I can keep my guys and still have a guy, because that draft next year is really deep.
Yep.
So there's a lot of talent there, and I just hope and pray that he's good.
And if you're armed with 2 first-round picks, you might be able to move up a little bit. Who knows?
Also true.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you with that one.
Yeah, I'll take the pick. So, all right. Anything else to add?
Yeah, let's hope Kyle Foster is the best three-point shooter in the league.
Yeah. He shoots 42% on 8 shots a game and 8 threes a game.
46.
46%? Mm-hmm. All right, fine. I was just comparing it to Fournier and Duncan Robinson's numbers, so that's fine.
I want him to retain the same exact shooting percentage.
How many threes did you say he took at Howard? We didn't have that number. We just had that.
No, we did. I got to pull it back up here. It was 5.3 per game.
All right, he ups that by 3 threes a game.
Sorry, 8 threes. I was looking at his career. He shot 46% on 8 3-point attempts per game.
He does exactly that. And Steph Curry comes and signs him himself.
You know what's concerning? I just saw this.
Huh.
Last year, like 2020, 2021, he had 7.5%, 7.5 threes per game, which is just slightly lower. He shot 33%. I don't think I've ever seen a 13% increase year over year.
Didn't Jaden Ivey have a double-digit percent increase year over year?
I don't think it was 13%. It was an increase. I want to say it was like from 32 to 38 or something like that.
It was 10. 25
10.
25 to 35. Exactly 10, actually. 25.8 to 35.8.
Jesus.
Taking 0.8 more threes a game. So, I mean, it happens.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. But that is going to close it out this week, guys. If you guys have anything to comment on or want to just say hey, hit us up on Twitter at RealFanReport. Lots to talk about with this draft. Lots to unpack. And a lot of excitement moving forward. Like I said, this is probably one of the best feelings after a draft we've had as Pistons fans in a long time. And we had really good feelings after last year and the year before that. So,
and we had some pretty good feeling after the Lions draft, too. I mean,
we did. Absolutely. So, but anyways,
think about the Lions draft, looked very similar to the Pistons draft. You're back up into the first round, getting a guy that they wanted.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely.
Having the guy at your actual pick fall to you that you weren't totally expecting to be there.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But thank you guys for listening, and thank you to the Detroit Sports Podcast. Always, Andrew, thank you for joining me. This has been the Fan Report. Bye, fans.
For fans.
We will catch you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace out.
Peace.